The MLB offseason is officially over, so it's time for us to go through all the trades, well, the ones that matter, and give them a grade. We've done this with previous offseasons. It's going to be a similar format. We are going to say the trade, talk about the trade, and then me and James will give you our respective grades on said trade. A lot of rhyming, a lot of good content. Make sure you're subscribed to the Windup so you don't miss out. Let's get going into it, James. We got to start off, maybe not the biggest move, but first trade of the offseason officially, November 10th, 2025. The Rays get their favorite player cash considerations for Cameron Meisner to the Kansas City Royals.
I mean, you got to hand it to the Rays for getting more cash. We know how badly they needed that. But Cameron Meisner, I mean, you want to talk about a fourth outfielder who can handle center field defensively, has good bat speed. This is your guy right here.
A for the Royals. You gave up cash for Cameron Meisner, and the Rays got their favorite thing, which is cash, their coach, Kevin Cash.
A, both sides. Are we going to grade these as each team's grade, or are we just going to grade the trade?
Let's do both sides. I think we can do from both sides. Obviously, for some teams, it's like this was a nothing, where like it's a one-sided deal. We can be very obvious about that, but I think for some, this was a great offseason for square trades. We joke about it all the time. A lot of square trades. Interested to see how we feel about them a little bit later. James, what's the next trade you want to talk about?
I think the next meaningful one, we have to scroll all the way up to November 19th. We have the Baltimore Orioles acquiring Taylor Ward and the Angels getting Grayson Rodriguez. Where at the time, we were all like, what?
Yeah, it felt weird.
Why'd this happen?
Yeah, and at least to the Orioles' credit, they got more pitchers, that being Chris Bassett. And Grayson Rodriguez, I think, is still extremely questionable about what kind of pitcher he will be in 2026, what kind of pitcher he can be in the future. There's just not been a lot of the concerns or questions answered just yet, but that's kind of the right flyer for the Angels to take. I think, I dogged them at times for only being interested in former old prospects, former top guys, and Grayson Rodriguez falls in that category. But I guess for Taylor Ward, who wasn't a part of this team, shouldn't have been a part of this team for the Los Angeles Angels, might as well take a shot on the guy who has like 4 years of control and was a top former pitching prospect in baseball.
Right, it's just still a funny fit for the Orioles, considering that.
Yeah, Orioles, it's a weirder fit almost.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in terms of, like, you probably still would like one more upside starting pitcher spec, and you probably could have manufactured plenty of corner outfield depth. Like, right now, you're going into the season with Tyler O'Neill on the bench. You gave 3 for 40 basically last year.
Yeah, he could have just been your left fielder.
We commended them for this at the time because he played so poorly. And like Tyler O'Neill last season, it was like, all right, yeah, cool, get your replacement for Tyler O'Neill. Then they spent big money in Pete Alonso. It's like, you guys are really just strengthening the strengths, where this is also the time in the offseason now, or I guess the time of spring training. We're probably going to have 3 or 4 more weeks of this until something goes wrong, where you're starting to get optimism about Grayson Rodriguez. That's what you're getting. Grayson Rodriguez is from Rhett Bollinger, who's Angels beat reporter for MLB.com. Grayson Rodriguez already noticed a huge difference after having bone spurs removed from his right elbow and is aiming to make 30 starts this season.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what. I'm aiming to be 6 feet tall one day. Don't know if it's going to happen. And I feel better after I get a good night's sleep. That's 100%. What he told me.
That's exactly what it is. Also, Grayson Rodriguez, he's from Nacogdoches.
Jesus. Okay. That's a shout out. Very few people will understand that reference, but hey, fuck it. All right. Overall, though, Jesus. Shook me there. I wasn't ready for that.
Couldn't believe when I saw it on the Fangraphs page.
That is pretty funny. I think I did know that, honestly. But Grayson Rodriguez, it's like a extremely low floor, and I will say this, I don't even know how high the ceiling truthfully is for a guy like him right now without seeing any sort of pitching from him recently. Taylor Ward, at least for the Orioles, does make them a better team than I think Grayson Rodriguez would this year.
I think the whole thing, though, with this is that at least it's like the Angels maybe understanding a bit more of like front office game theory, where it's like,
huge.
You have Grayson Rodriguez for 4 years. He's not even arbitration eligible. I said this at the time. If he makes 50 starts in the next 4 years,
huge win.
This is incredibly worth it for them. It's just
if he makes 30 starts, it might be incredibly worth it for them.
Like the last time he was on the mound, he was awesome. It felt like he was coming into his own. That was a full season ago now, but it's just like I still think he can be good. I just don't know if he can ever stay healthy enough to be good. He might be good off the Angels. It still might take him to 30 years old. The next team who gets Grayson Rodriguez, that's where it actually might click.
Yeah, that's not the place I want to be rehabbing an injury, is the Angels and their incredible pitching development.
No, probably not. So I still think for the Angels, I'd give them an A.
I think it's an A for the Angels just from a value play. You probably are going to get more value out of Grayson Rodriguez over his time on the Angels than you will Taylor Ward. From the Orioles' perspective, probably a B. Yeah. I think B's fair, where it's like got better, but this wasn't the move you had to make.
No, but again, getting good baseball players usually helps a baseball team be good.
Quickly, we also got to talk about the other big trade that happened that day, Mauricio Dubon for Nick Allen. I know people have been dying to hear us bring this one up again, but talk about a trade I couldn't care less about, truthfully. But it are for major league players.
I mean, also, it's still going to help the Braves because Mauricio Dubon is probably going to be their shortstop like all season.
Yeah, it seems like it. Ha-Seong Kim breaking his hand.
I mean, I think we're all going to be watching very intently in the Mauricio Dubon, Jorge Mateo spring training battle for opening day shortstop for the Braves.
Yeah, C for both sides.
I see both ways. Next big trade, though, that's to talk about, which really I feel like was the punch that actually kicked the offseason off. Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien.
This one is very close to home as your favorite biased Mets fans. This one involved us big time. Nimmo going to the Rangers, Marcus Semien going to the Mets. I still feel different ways about it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think the Rangers got the better player right now, and they might have gotten the better player over the length of the next 3 years in Brandon Nimmo. But I think for what the Mets needed, the way that the Mets organization was built, the way that this roster has been constructed, Marcus Semien is more valuable to the Mets than Brandon Nimmo would be. Where also Brandon Nimmo is more valuable to the Rangers than Marcus Semien would be.
I think there's more ways for the Mets to win this trade than they got credit for at the time, where just the way that Brandon Nimmo's physically declined over the last few years. He's still a much, I think, better hitter than Marcus Semien, but just I think defensively, Semien literally coming off a Gold Glove award, still as one of like the marquee defensive second baseman in the league. The Mets have clearly prioritized that. Now it's funny like to talk back and go through the motions of how that move looked at the time, and now knowing what we know about this Mets team, but just even if Semien could be an average hitter, a league average hitter. Some people have yelled at us in the comments for making that distinction, talking about Semien, or maybe it was Mets top. I get it all confused now. Even if he's just a league average hitter, he's going to be a well above average player. He's going.
Yes.
He could have a 3.5 win season still, and I think that was something the Mets wanted to have a little bit more of that value weight shifted to defense in this spot in the team.
And it does seem like the fit with Brandon Nimmo on the Mets, he's not the leadoff guy anymore. He's not prioritizing being on base. That's when Brandon Nimmo was at his best.
But he is going to be the leadoff guy on the Rangers.
Correct. And that's why I think he's more valuable to the Rangers than the Mets, because his best version is when he's that 360 on base guy with 20, 25 home runs. We don't need him to be the big power guy for him to be at his best, because truly being on base is what Brandon Nimmo's best skill is. He has an incredible eye at the plate, but we also know pitchers aren't scared of him anymore. They're just throwing the ball right down the middle saying, hit it. Overall, again, I think this is going to be a positive for both teams. I think both teams got what they wanted, and it's a flat B for me for both sides. I tend to lean that it could go C, though, for either way, because I think both of these are not guarantees to be good.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anywhere close, but I also think if, in that case, the Mets also probably just have less risk because there's fewer years on him. And
yes,
what Mark was referencing before is that Brandon Nimmo now is one of the highest in-zone pitch rates in the league, so pitchers have stopped being afraid of him. That's why his walks have gone down, which is something I'd probably be a little bit scared about if I were the Rangers.
Yeah, and also at the same time, right field's a mistake. He should not be playing right field. That's crazy.
No, that's going to be rectified after like 6 games.
I mean, when you see again, who are the Rangers playing the first series of the season? Like whoever,
right now.
Whatever fat slow guy that's playing DH or first base for that team goes first to third.
I got the New York Rangers schedule. Jeez.
New York Rangers.
I just googled Ranger schedule, clicked the first link, and that's not nobody wants to see that right now.
Bad for baseball that the New York Rangers are coming up against over the Texas Rangers. How bad they've been.
Okay, so this is exactly what we've been wanting. The second series of the year, the Rangers are in Baltimore against the Orioles, and we're going to get to see Pete Alonso try to go from first to third on Brandon Nimmo's arm in right field. That's going to be perfect. Or even like Alec Boehm, first series of the year in Philadelphia.
Guy's slow as hell.
I tell you, my dad's going to be so mad that the Texas Rangers are opening the season in Philadelphia against the Phillies. He's going to be irate.
That's a good anger level, though, for like someone of his age.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. Schedule anger.
November 25th, we got the Red Sox. We got the Cardinals. One of the many trades that we'll see them make this offseason. Sonny Gray going to the Red Sox. Brandon Clark and old Richard, a.k.a. Dick Fitz, going to the St. Louis Cardinals. Listen, I think the Cardinals ended up getting good value for Sonny Gray. I don't know how good these players will ultimately end up being in their career. But for Sonny Gray, who I'm not particularly high on as like a pretty good starter, I know some of the underlying numbers liked him more than what his ERA and stuff were. I do just get worried about a guy getting older, having a season that was rough in St. Louis on a team that played good defense in a big park. Like, I don't know how well of a fit it is for this version of Sonny Gray, but also at the same time, it makes this Red Sox rotation great, and he might be like the 3 or 4 in this rotation now. So I think it was still a good move. I like it from both sides.
Sonny Gray strikes a lot of guys out, and he doesn't walk many, and that to me is always a good thing. And I do think that now, especially looking at this after the other trade that the Cardinals and Red
Yes.
Sox made, Wilson Contreras, which we'll get to probably in a few minutes. It's like the same package that went back, basically.
Pretty much,
Like,
yeah.
here's a high floor and here's a high ceiling. Brandon Clark is an athletic specimen who has a high ceiling. He might just be a reliever. He might never be a major leaguer. And Richard Fitz probably can be a back-end starter this year, and he has enough breaking ball quality and intrigue and depth of arsenal where you could really see things clicking in him, like just being a starter for a long time. So I think I give a B plus to both sides here.
I was gonna just go B again, just
I think
similarly. Like,
everyone got what they wanted.
yeah, it was again. It was a square trade. Like
Square deal.
I think both sides are pretty happy. I don't know if I'd be happy of either side if I was a fan of either team.
I think if you're a fan of either team, I think both times you'd be like, all right,
Just like whatever.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Square
cool.
ass deal.
Red Sox made another trade. A week later, I think December 4th, with the Pittsburgh Pirates, they traded Justin Garcia and Jesus Traveso for Johan Oviedo and a couple other prospects. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm really only looking at Oviedo for Justin Garcia.
Yeah.
Oviedo now might not even be in the rotation, which is kind of funny about this entire thing, is that Oviedo at the time was kind of slotted in to be like the 4-5 range for the Red Sox. Now he just might be their long man out of the pen. I love what the Red Sox did with getting all this starting pitching depth, and I do like Johan Oviedo. He made some changes at the end of last season that made him exciting, which is why you saw him get moved for a prospect that was also exciting in Justin Garcia.
And Oviedo it seemed like the Red Sox were going about their business this offseason with, how should I describe it? They were making their own decisions that didn't seem like a lot of other, like I think a guy like Oviedo, it's like you need to see more than meets the eye. Like they were just using pitch modeling. They're like, we
Yes.
like his stuff. We're getting his stuff. We don't really know if we like the health. We definitely don't like the command. We're getting stuff. We believe in our pitching infrastructure. We think we can make him greater than the sum of his parts. And for them to trade a guy like Justin Garcia to do it, who is extraneous in their outfield mix anyway, and definitely has flaws of his own. Like this seemed like just an easy deal for them to make.
I weirdly think this is an A for both sides, though. Can I say that?
You can say that. Yeah, fine. I'm with you. I was going to say B for both sides just because I think both guys are capped and limited. I could see the Red Sox turning Oviedo into a demon. I could see him imploding. I could see Justin Garcia being a 30-homer bat who plays good outfield defense. I could also see him having a 280 on base and never getting a job.
Yeah, I could see him not playing very many games at the major league level this year. You wouldn't be shocked. It seems it's kind of like what just happened? Every once in a while we get some clanking of the pans.
Some pots fell down. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
But Brian, it feels like Brian De La Cruz-ish, where I'm like, I'm gonna believe in this guy until I can't no more. And Justin Garcia, what the hit tool could be, is exciting.
Yeah, but the power tool could be. The hit tool's the
power
thing.
tool. My
Hit
bad.
tool, we have to worry about that. But again, like the Red Sox had that, and the Pirates just kind of need some of that. So again, me beat both sides, but nice deal.
Jose Ferrer going to the Seattle Mariners. Washington Nationals get Harry Ford and Isaac Lyon. I know Jose Ferrer's got some electric stuff, and we've talked about him on Mets Up for a while, of like an exciting left-handed reliever, and I'm sure the Mariners will make him into a good one. This has nothing to do with what I think from the Mariners' perspective. I think the Nationals got a lot for him. I think Harry Ford like Cabrera sucks. He's horrible. He might be one of the worst players in baseball. Give Harry Ford a shot to play every single day. He's an athletic player. He's been able to hit at AAA. At the major league level, didn't get to play much, but I do think that there's a really exciting player inside of Harry Ford that is just a different look than Caber Ruiz, who stinks.
There's at least potentially one, and that's why, just for the sake of game theory, you make this trade for the Washington Nationals. Like Jose Ferrer, God forbid, he makes you win 58 games instead of 56 games this year. You don't even want to deal with that possible
Harry
downside.
Ford could make you win like 64.
Harry Ford could possibly be a starting player on your team for years to come. Again, I think the jury's still out on whether or not he can handle catcher defensively to allow his good, not great production at the plate.
Yeah.
I still think he could be a good hitter, but if he was a catcher, I think he would be a great hitter considering for a catcher. It's worthwhile deal to make for the Nationals, and I think that the Mariners maybe sold low objectively on Harry Ford,
I think so.
getting another left-handed reliever again, their late-stage team where we wanted to add the pieces that can get us over the hump, where if you don't think Harry Ford is doing that, of course, by all means, make that move. But I think I like this move much more conceptually from the Nationals than I did the Mariners.
Yeah, like for the Mariners, for me, I think it's like a B minus. That's where I'm going to kind of go, is you did get better for your team right now, and I'm not going to ever chastise you for that, but it does feel like Harry Ford could have brought some value to this team or been helpful in the trade market. Nationals, to me, this is an A. Like you said, you trade a left-handed reliever for a guy who could be an everyday starter for you at a very difficult position.
Yeah, I was going to say A Nationals, B Mariners, just because Jose Ferrer still might be one of the best relievers in baseball.
Oh, he's very good. Yeah, it's nothing against Jose Ferrer. It's more about, did you get as much value as you could have for Harry Ford?
I know it's a different regime with the Nationals, but it kind of reminds me of last year when Nathaniel Lowe was traded for, what was that, Robert Garcia?
Yes.
Yeah, so similar thing where it's like, wow, look at Nationals really coming out strong in this one. Suddenly, actually, no, Nathaniel Lowe's terrible.
Stinks.
But also, different regime in Washington. Trust the group there right now, so I do kind of like.
What's the next one here, James? Angel Zerpa?
Yeah, I was going to say Isaac Collins and Nick Mears going to the Kansas City Royals in exchange for Angel Zerpa to the Brewers. This is just one where it's like, I don't really get it, but I trust Brewers.
I trust Brewers, but also like Nick Mears was a demon for the Brewers, and going to the Royals, like the Royals built up a nice little bullpen, like not the biggest names, not the flashiest ones, but Nick Mears being like their third or fourth option, kind of a super deep bullpen. And Isaac Collins, while there's still probably a little bit of volatility in how good of a player he could be, I feel confident that he will be a major league player for the Royals, at the worst a fourth outfielder, someone who could even maybe get Kyle Isbell to play a little bit less and be a good left fielder at the worst.
I mean, Cameron Meisner's still there too, like we
Can't
started
forget
the
Cameron
video
Meisner.
with. But this also could be just textbook Brewers knowing how and when to sell high and when to
Yes.
buy low, because Nick Mears, he's been a demon for years, but last year, while the stuff was still solid and it was still plus, the strikeouts were just gone. So we don't know if that's an anomaly. And that's at the same time as his ERA went low. So 2 years ago, his expected ERA was like 2.5 runs above his actual ERA, and he's striking out 30% of batters. Brewers hold through to this year. ERA goes all the way down. Strikeouts are gone. So it's like, and Zerpa's just like,
Are they doing the starter thing with him?
there were reports that they were when this move happened, but they've both subtracted and added so much other starting pitcher depth that it seems like as of now it's inconclusive. I still think he can play as a starter, but doesn't seem like there's been any indication as to whether or not that will happen. And right now they probably just start him in the bullpen because that's kind of where they are. I'm curious right now. I'm going to check quickly if there's been any news that's come out of spring training so far out of the Brewers camp, but it just seems like they kind of want to make him into a little bit of a freak, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I overall I'm gonna go C plus for both sides. It's kind of how I feel.
But still square, but it's still kind
Yeah.
of hard for us to like see the reasons through for each of them. I kind of agree with that because they B for both sides still. Because I tend to trust the Brewers, and I do like the fact that the Royals are a team in the middle that is just trying to acquire depth.
Yeah, because one thing we always joke about with them is they just don't even have Major League Baseball players, and Isaac Collins is definitely one of those.
Definitely is one of them. He's at least going to be like a quality one. It's still
He's at least better than Dyrone Blanco.
the last update that came about this was just after the trade, December 14th. The Brewers were allegedly open to trying Zerpa as a starter. So we still might see a bit of that experiment, which I still think would be a good experiment, but that's it.
We want to quickly talk Matt Strahm.
I guess we can quickly talk match. I mean, I was going to briefly mention Jake Bennett for Luis Perales, which again, that's the Nationals just playing game theory.
Trade, yeah.
The Red Sox, for some reason, were just again obsessed with getting as much starting pitching depth as possible. Jake Bennett's a big lefty who just seems like high floor, low ceiling, throw some sinkers from a big slot. And Luis Perales is a stuffed demon that kind of gotten famous with the Red Sox organization the last few years. Had some arm trouble, just still throws 100 with a good shape on a fastball. It's like Nationals like, yeah, bring him in here. Why not?
I'll give the Nationals an A.
And Nationals an A, Red Sox a B.
Yeah, cool.
All right, keep moving on here. I mean, I can't believe you're skipping just Tristan Peters for cash considerations.
Rays getting more cash considerations. It's
more
crazy.
cash for the Rays and dumping more 40-man outfielders. Kansas City Royals acquired Matt Strahm. Philadelphia Phillies acquired Jonathan Bolin. Same concept as the Zerpa trade we just talked about.
Just like, you want our guy and I want your guy. You want to just trade him? And they're like, sure. To be fair, I like Matt Strahm more than Jonathan Bolin. It's nothing against Jonathan Bolin. I've seen Matt Strahm be a very good pitcher in the bullpen for the last few years. Get Royals, great bullpen, sneaky.
Yeah, Steve had a very good bullpen. Bolin has really nice stuff. He's got a fastball and a sinker that play off each other well. He has like a nice little tight gyro slider. He's got a 2-plane curveball. Fastball sits 96. Like, he's definitely a good reliever as well with way more team control than Matt Strahm. So it does seem like the Royals might be like overselling themselves to build this team as well as possible. Like, we'll figure out 2029 when we get to 2029.
Which is also fair. I don't know,
Yeah.
B from both sides.
Yeah, I got like a little bit more from the Phillies. I'll give them the B plus and the Royals a B minus. But Strahm's probably a better reliever tomorrow.
Shane Baz going to the Baltimore Orioles in exchange for Slater DeBrun, Caden Bodine, Michael Forret, Austin Overn, and the number 33 overall pick in the 2026 MLB draft. James, start us off on this one.
I mean, I think the further away I get from this trade, the more I like it for the Orioles.
I think so too.
Just because like pitchers like Shane Baz don't grow on trees. The Rays trading him to me is like, part of me is like, maybe I should be suspicious of this. But at the same time, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be, because they trade guys who go on to have good, successful careers everywhere all the time. And Baz just, if you look at the way they split out last year in Tampa and away from Tampa, he was much more successful on the road. The stuff was totally fine. Despite a bad ERA, we know that no one in these front offices cares about the ERA. It's one of the least important things to look at when assessing a pitcher's future value, not the past value, because those are the runs they gave up. Their future value, it's like you just bought 98 miles an hour with a deep pitch mix and a nasty curveball from a guy who was untouchable 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was a good
move.
trade for the Orioles. And I will say, while they like gave up a lot,
Volume.
volume-wise prospect package. I don't have the highest expectations of almost any of the guys that were traded there. Like I think
Fort's nice.
Fort's the guy who pitching stuff, right? Like he was pretty
Yeah,
good in Double-A, which is kind of funny for the Orioles because he probably could have been a major leaguer this year for them. So that's where you could like make a joke. But like truthfully, I think the like most valuable thing here is going to be that first round pick, number 33 overall. Just being able because like that's I think relatively the range Slayer DeBrun went to, and even Caden Bodine. I think they're right in that range. So it's like get another first round pick. They probably like these guys from the draft. I don't know what the ceilings are on almost any of these guys, but it does feel like Bodine, DeBrun, and even Four high floor.
Overton is a freak athlete. I think he did like high-level football at some point in his past. I'm pretty sure I remember that story coming out. But again, this is a move that a team like the Rays wants to make where it's just like, let's build up as much depth as possible, and the Orioles need to take a shot. It is funny seeing a trade like this where I said at the time, I got chastised for it, I felt like the Orioles really... That was a big bullet for them trade-wise to take a guy with a huge risk. Again, we love the upside in Shane Baz, but you have to also consider the downside in a guy like him. But it's just that it seems like they don't have as nearly as much organizational depth as we perceive them to have from the farm system strength they had like even 2 years ago.
No, they're all at the major league level now. They've all graduated. They're all those guys, and then the ones
and
that
half of them aren't good.
I was gonna say half of them aren't good. So that's what happens sometimes with these minor league rebuilds.
I would give this trade still a B+ by the Orioles, and I'd probably do the same for the Rays because you got a bunch of volume for a guy that you were like, you know what, it's been years, we might not trust his health. Like it's give us a big just gluttony of guys.
Call us the B boys. I'm giving him a B.
Because, I mean, bunch of square-ass deals. You want to talk about another one that was weird to see at the time, but now as we move further away, I still kind of love it from all sides. Jacob Melton and Anderson Brito to the Rays, Michael Burrows to the Astros, and Brandon Lau, Jake Mangum, and Mason Montgomery to the Pirates.
I hate this from the Rays' perspective. I don't get the Jacob Melton hype, man. And maybe that's
Jacob
my
Melton's
famous
nice.
last words. I every time the few times I've watched him play, because he doesn't play very much at the major league level, I just go like fourth outfielder, and I guess that's what the Rays love is fourth outfielders. They make careers out of them.
I mean, they traded Cameron Meisner beginning of the offseason. Can't forget that.
How much better is Jacob Melton than Cameron Meisner? Truthfully,
I think he's probably a good bit better. Jacob Melton he's
like a real center fielder, right?
And also like his upper minors advanced data, because we have it all from StatCast. It was hit ball hard. It was good swing decisions. So it's like you figure if you could just make that, and the Rays love to get.
The Astros have used that?
100%, but I think that the Astros have kind of fallen down player development in the last few years, but I still trust what the Rays can do, especially with what they're able to always do with these intriguing upper minors bats when they get to the major league level. They're just so good at taking those guys, repurposing them. Maybe they lost a little bit of that shine on Christopher Morel last year, but it's just like I still believe that they can take a guy like Jacob Melton, who has good physical tools and makes good swing decisions, the upper minors, and turn him into just like a quality 3-win player for 6 years.
All right, we'll see. We'll find out. I'm definitely a little bit lower on that. I like Mike Burrows going to the Astros. Depth starting pitching probably is like their 4 or 5 right now. I think he probably slots into B.
There's a chance he winds up there too, sooner rather than later.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, we know how health goes in Houston with their starting pitchers, but like Burrows is good. He's got a bunch of pitches. He throws like mid 90s. There's no real like I feel like excitement with Mike Burrows, but there's no concern either. It feels like. Mike
Burrows is just like, kind of like you say, he's a quality 3, and it's kind of hard to get a quality 3 out there in Major League Baseball, especially
that usually costs a lot.
Yeah, especially when we saw pitching contracts go. The fact that you got, I think, 5 years of Mike Burrows for like nothing, it's like it's kind of hard. You got 6 years of Mike Burrows for not that much. Like that's a nice pull there. And Anderson Brito, the prospect they sent back to Houston with Melton there, he's got crazy stuff. We'll see if the Rays can do anything with him. Just this whole series of Rays moves just tells us they're trying to push the contention window like 2 years into the future again.
Yes.
So when the Rays kind of try to stockpile like this, kind of want to see the vision, maybe if they actually sell, if they actually get into a new stadium, that's kind of where they put their timeline. But the Pirates still are the clear winner of this trade.
Easy.
Where at the time are now, even just 1 year of Brandon Lau, like getting a guy with 30 homer power sick. Jake Mangum is what a great depth rotation outfielder he will prove to be. The people of Pittsburgh are going to love the way Jake Mangum plays baseball.
They're going to make a Mangum beer, 100%. He'll get his own beer out there.
And Mason Montgomery, now you're starting to get the trickling of the spring training stuff. The beat writers watching his bullpens, they're like, you get a load of this guy.
Look at this little freak.
100 from the left side with that hook. Jeez. But if things break right for Mason Montgomery, he's their closer. If things break wrong, can't throw strikes. Like that's just worth it for a team like the Pirates who kind of wants to get a little more variance in their squad.
Yeah, and they, again, afforded the luxury of giving up Michael Burrows because they have a million starting pitchers, which is crazy to say.
But they do, like Braxton Ashcraft and Bubba Chandler stepping forward. Like, yeah, we can trade Mike Burrows, no big deal.
Yeah, they traded him. They traded Johan Oviedo, and it didn't miss a beat. Might have gotten even better by moving on from their starting pitchers. Kind of funny to think about. I give the Pirates an A. I give the Astros a B. I give the Rays a C.
I would do Pirates A, Astros B, but I also give the Rays a B because I think I'm a bigger believer in Melton than you are.
That's fair. That's fair. Red Sox, 2 days later, get Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals in exchange for Hunter Dobbins, Yoiker Fajardo, and Blake Ida. To me, this one is a clear and obvious win for the Red Sox. I think the Cardinals got back what they wanted. I think this is like they wanted another major league starting pitcher. They want some guys with some possible ceiling down in the minors in Fajardo and Ida. But Wilson Contreras is by far the best player. He's going to make the biggest impact, and he does change this Red Sox lineup where I don't know if any of the guys the Cardinals got ever really do anything.
It's possible. I mean, I think Hunter Dobbins does something. He's going to be a stable back end guy. He's got good command. He's got good off speed. Like he's going to be a dude who starts forever, and you won't even know why.
He's like a meat and potatoes guy that a good team could use. On a bad team, Hunter Dobbins has like his value is hopefully you trade him.
I think he's incredibly tradable. I mean, Hunter Dobbins like sits 95, 96 with a slider,
for sure,
sweeper, or like a curveball, developing splitter. Like Hunter Dobbins is a guy who just seems like a major league pitcher. He'll be that for a long time. And Yoiker Fajardo, I know the guys at Baseball Prospectus love him as one of the biggest pitching risers last year. And Lance Prasdowski in his Substack highlighted Blake Ida recently, saying that there's a very nice mix of a high riding fastball with a sweeper on there that he sees pretty guaranteed major league reliever down the line. So again, for Wilson Contreras, who's doing nothing for the Cardinals, you probably got a package here of intrigue where these are like Fajardo's going to be one of your top pitching prospects now, and Aida's a nice spec to build on.
Yeah, I give the Red Sox an A because I don't think what they gave up mattered at all for a second for them. A+, I think is one of the better trades that a team made this offseason. I also think Contreras is going to be so good in Boston. For the Cardinals, I'm giving them a C. It didn't move me at all.
I'll go A and B. I love to give all these trades B's because I still understand a team that's going to tear down this hardcore like the Cardinals. Just give me some pieces.
Mets traded Jeff McNeil and money to the A's for Yordan Rodriguez. I'll get ahead of this one quickly. The Mets are going to get an F for this. Like, it's just going to be an F. You trade a guy away and basically paying his salary for, like, the hopes that this 18-year-old Dominican, like, ends up being pretty good. Is he Dominican? I don't even know. Yordan Rodriguez, he's so far away from ever being anything in the Mets farm system. Right now, I'm just going to give it an F. But the Mets had to do this trade. I want that to be very clear. It needed to be made. It didn't make sense to keep Jeff McNeil, friend of the podcast. That's why it gets an F.
Yordan Rodriguez, Cuban. Turned 18 19 days ago, which I think is pretty hilarious. And he's already touched the upper 90s.
Yeah, so I mean, cool.
Think about an ascending high school senior that has, like, touched 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, no, it's great. Listen, this is nothing against Yordan Rodriguez. I think it's just... I think it is objectively a trade where the A's are getting all the value and the Mets are hoping for anything.
Of course. The Mets are paying Jeff McNeil to play against them. But I do think you sent me an interesting Instagram post.
I did, yeah.
On Monday, February 16th, that may have been an indication that the Mets just did not want Jeff McNeil anywhere near their team anymore.
And that was playing golf with Eric Chavez.
Yeah, disgraced former hitting coach. It just seemed like the Mets need to turn over a new leaf. They were just holding Jeff McNeil up in the air saying, if anybody wants him, we will give you $10 million to play for your team. So again, I think the Mets objectively I'll give them a D just to be a little kinder. And I think the A's get an A because they get a much better second baseman than they had in their team anyway.
It's going to be exciting to watch that A's team. We're us big A's fans this year. We might do some live watch parties of the A's.
10 p.m. watch parties. I mean, just quickly, Eric Wagman has some good underlying hitting data.
Why are we? I know
we're not talking about. We're moving on. We're going to move it quicker. Good underlying hitting data on Eric Wagman. Watch him get 400 plate appearances for the Twins this year.
A good underlying hitting data. Justin Henry Malloy. I like that by the Rays.
Yes, and they sent away cash considerations, which definitely was tough for them.
That had to be heartbreaking for that front office. All right, now a real trade. Edward Cabrera to the Cubs for Owen Casey, Christian Hernandez, and Edgardo De Leon to the Marlins. I definitely like the Cubs side a lot more. Edward Cabrera looks like he's going to be an exciting pitcher in the Cubs rotation. There are still question marks. It's not a guarantee. He was healthy probably for the first time ever last year, and he still wasn't really healthy.
Nope.
He was good for the first time ever last year, and he probably still wasn't actually that good. He was just good.
He was pretty good.
He was good, but I don't know if, with the health concerns, it is scary. But this was a trade that I think the Cubs had to make again because Owen Casey doesn't really have a spot on this team. He's fighting to be the fourth outfielder. You go out and get a frontline starter. I like this trade from both sides, but I do like it more from the Cubs. Always going for the win now teams.
Owen Casey talked about that actually today at spring training on Monday, that he has like a new vigor because he's on this Marlins team. He like sees a starting spot available for him. He's like, I know I've been kind of the odd man out, didn't really have any even chance to wedge in Chicago. And he was like, it was bittersweet to get traded because I've been with this organization 5 years, not even being drafted by them. It's crazy how young he got traded the first time, but like it's Owen Casey's fun. I told you a week ago, I've been doing some research on Owen Casey. I'm going to highlight him as part of a video I do on my personal channels. Can come out in a few days. He's going to mash probably.
He's just Kyle Stowers, I think.
He's Kyle Stowers, but they're requiring him 5 years younger.
Yes,
so it's like he's imagine 22-year-old Kyle Stowers. Kyle Stowers was 27 when he broke out last year. Like Owen Casey's 6'4", 220. He's played 226 games at AAA, and he just turned 23 years old. Like that's an unbelievable amount of high minors experience for a guy this young that was considered this flawed. He had almost 900 OPS over those 226 AAA games. 2 batted balls over 115 miles per hour last year. A bunch of 113s last year in AAA. Had a 114 in the majors last year and only 15 balls in play, which is crazy. And it wasn't like a worm burner 115. It was a rope in the gap. Like he's going to hit. And there was a good pull from Aaron Layton, Just Baseball, that he just absolutely tore down his whiff rates last year. And I have a visual I'm going to put in my personal video. If you go month by month last year, and you could do this on Savant because you have all AAA data, something happened, swing tweak something. Between April and June, he cut his whiff rate in half.
Yeah.
So if he's not whiffing and he's not swinging and missing and he has this power, like he's just going to mash. Like I think the Marlins are just going to get a very good major league outfielder here.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that this team can now be doing what the Rays used to do with Peter Bendix, which is acquire those 4A players. Like it's just you're getting good guys.
Imagine a 4A player is a 23-year-old who had 900 OPS at AAA. Like I think he's going. And again, I like Edward Cabrera a lot. And also, I like the report that came out that the Marlins wanted Casey from the Cubs midseason because they wanted Edward Cabrera. And the Cubs said no. They're like, all right, you don't get him. Yeah. We're going to wait. They wait till the end of the season. We got our guy anyway. So the fact they wanted him that bad, I give them credit. I think both teams are getting an A for this one.
I think so as well. Like, again, I like the Cubs side more, but I think it's both A's.
Yes, very good trade.
You want to talk about Josh Gross for Jake McCarthy? Probably not.
I figured we would talk about Ken Waldichuk because already been cut twice since he got traded from the Braves to the Rays.
For cash considerations.
Cash considerations. Again, back all the Rays are doing is getting cash, sending cash, getting cash, sending cash. This one's fun, though. Similar. Marlins, again, wanted to deal from their pitching depth. What?
You're skipping Nolan Arenado?
Oh, I was totally skipping Nolan Arenado. I totally forgot he got traded.
Want to just quickly talk about it?
Yeah, whatever.
Who cares? What are the Diamondbacks doing? Why is it Nolan Arenado?
I mean, they're just trying. I mean, I think it's the one thing about this trade that sticks out to me is like Jordan Lawler. I'm so not a believer.
It took Lourdes Gurriel basically tore his ACL. Is that what he did? He's out for the year, and then they trade Blaze Alexander. I think Lawler might try and play left field. It seems like they're trying their hardest.
Crazy if you want him to play left field. I don't know. I just don't get it. But Arenado, I understand the Diamondbacks have such a good nucleus. They want to try and stay as close to 500 as possible. So if guys get healthy, they can make a run late. I just think they might be my disaster team this season. Yeah,
they feel like it. This one's going to be a D for the Diamondbacks and a C for the Cardinals because you got anything for Nolan.
I mean, it's just like an incomplete. Nolan Arenado is just not a very good baseball player anymore.
Now
sadly.
You can talk about your Marlins.
Marlins trading with the Yankees, Ryan Weathers, and some money going with Ryan Weathers. The Marlins have to fork over a little cash for the pauper Yankees over here. For a crew of, I think, again, some pretty not that interesting prospects in Dylan Lewis, Dylan J. So different spells. Dilon Lewis, Dylan J. So Brendan Jones, and Juan Matthias.
Yeah, I don't care about what the Marlins got back at all. And maybe that's a little like pretentious of me to not care about these whatever prospects in the middle of the Marlins org. But like the fact they're not even like big Marlins prospects in a weak farm system tells me everything I need to know. I don't know how the Yankees keep getting away with it. They can just trade away all the guys that are never going to play for their team to another team and get a pitcher.
I think it's because like Ryan Weathers is just the guy just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and we were joking about it, how like people were tweeting out he's like throwing 100 or however hard he's throwing on the mound. And you're like, guys, that's not good.
If I was Ryan Weathers' pitcher coach, I'd be like, can you please hit 95 until March 15th?
Take it down,
I'm begging you. Because it happened last year. And like when Ryan Weathers on the mound, he's incredible. Like he has outrageous stuff. He's had like a real personal battle to kind of get serious about his own career in the last few years, where he was like one of the best high school baseball players ever.
I think he had like a .08 ERA. That's like you give up 1 run in like 400 innings?
I think he averaged 2 strikeouts per inning. His dad was Dave Weathers, the Yankees World Series hero. Like that was his name, right? Dave Weathers.
Yeah, David Weathers.
Yeah, David Weathers. And again, he's just with the Padres, he got really out of shape, and then he lost a lot of the weight, and he kind of came into himself with the Marlins, but he still can't stay healthy. Even last year, before I think it was the elbow or the shoulder that went bad in June, he got hit in the head by I think Augustine Ramirez on a throw down. It's like
crazy.
It's just bad things follow Ryan Weathers. The stuff is outrageously good if he can stay on the mound, and the Marlins just got, I think, depth. Like I know people were kind of excited about both Lewis and Jones, the outfielders that went back to them. All of these were pretty low picks by the Yankees in the draft, which is just good by Yankees player development. We know that they love to just beef those boys up in the lower minors, get some exit velocities, and then ship them out the first shot they have. But like this, again, game theory wise, great move by the Yankees.
Yeah.
To me, they got an A, and the Marlins are getting a C.
Yep, I'm on the same boat. I would even consider D, but I guess that's probably just me not knowing enough about prospects that don't matter to me. All right, moving on. On my birthday, a lot of big moves on my birthday. We
Lot
know
of big
about
moves
Kyle,
on your
Kyle Tucker
birthday.
signing with the fucking Dodgers being the biggest one. How about the trade that happened minutes after we got the Kyle Tucker news?
3 minutes.
3 minutes after, 3-team trade. Tampa Bay Rays get Gavin Lux and Chris Clark. They also get money with Gavin Lux. The Angels get Josh Lowe, and the Reds get Brock Burke. And I'm going to say it right now, my favorite part of this entire trade is the Reds. I think everything else I don't care about at all. I'm done with Gavin Lux. I'm giving up on him. He will never be a good Major League Baseball player.
Well, I think Gavin Lux now is just exactly what he is, where he's like, I'm never gonna have power anyway, so let me just smack the ball around a little bit.
Just
Like
so not interested in the
Gavin
DH
Lux,
like him.
he's going to have the most uneventful, boring, but really, really important if you guys play in like fantasy leagues that deeper you can imagine. He's gonna have a 100 WRC plus and like a 340, 350 on base percentage, hitting leadoff ahead of Jonathan Aranda, Yandy Diaz, and Junior Caminero for the Rays. And he's gonna score 90 runs that no one cares about.
I'm so done talking about him. He's turned into so nothing. Josh Lowe too, done with him. Angels, they said another former top prospect. Let's give it a shot. I know he's only a few years away from, or a few years separated from being an all-star, but since then, I know he's dealt with some injuries. When he's played, he's been like almost unplayable. He's been god-awful.
Especially, he's still never even been able to get close to hitting a left-handed pitcher. He also continues to get the soft tissue injuries that you hope he would grow out of, but there's so many obliques and hamstrings and quads that have sidelined Josh Lowe, which is very hard to believe. And again, we've given the Reds credit for building like the meat and potatoes of their bullpen similar to the Royals this offseason. And a guy like Brock Burke is just perfect for that. Just a reliable middle reliever who's going to get you through July.
Shout out Bengal, Brock Burke. He was always a Brock Burke believer. I'm gonna give the Reds a B. I'm gonna give the Angels a D, and I'm gonna give the Rays an F because I hate Gavin Lux and I'm done with him.
But shouldn't you be giving the Rays a little bit more credit for getting rid of Josh Lowe?
You're right.
There's got to be something there.
Oh, damn, I didn't think about that. And truthfully, the Angels gave up the guy I like the most in this trade, and they... Okay, so then by that theory, though, then the Reds would be an A because they got rid of Gavin Lux, brought in Brock Burke. So they got rid of my least favorite guy, brought in my favorite. Angels, C. Rays, F.
And we'll even tell you this one last time. When you could be the Rays and you can get a pitching prospect that came from the Angels who's 6'4".
Oh, he might be awesome. I know nothing about him.
I know that me and him, we're half birthday brothers. My birthday's his half birthday. Yeah, so we got that. Me and Chris Clark. But I guess, I don't know, D for the Rays, D for the Angels, B for the Reds.
Yeah, it's fine. How you want to talk Bradley Blaylock or no?
We briefly could. The Marlins got their SP7 D. I mean, just getting a guy to get out of Coors Field who has decent breaking balls. Like
It's worth a shot.
There's cool data around him where his pitch movement was so different inside and outside the Coors Field, where if you just took his stuff plus outside the Coors Field on both his fastball and his curveball, which I believe are the two pitches most affected by being at the high altitude in Coors Field, he was like around average stuff, which is like, all right. So if you could take that around average stuff and now just put it in the cavernous Marlins Park with good defense behind him, you might actually have like a plausible back-end rotation starter.
Now for a real trade. Mets get Luis Robert Jr. and the Chicago White Sox get Luis Angel Acuna, switch hitting Luis Angel Acuna, and Truman Pauly. I'm going to jump the gun here. That's an F for the White Sox. The fact that your GM multiple times, 4 times, on video, on tape, said he's a switch hitter. He had no idea who he traded for. I don't care what he said. He thought he got Ronnie Mauricio. That's an F.
But if he thought he got Ronnie Mauricio, does he know they're a foot apart in height?
Even more. How did he mix that up so consistently, so confidently? F. He did not know the player he traded for.
This is similar to the great stubbornness and discipline held by Peter Bendix when he was trying to get Owen Casey for Edward Cabrera. It seems like the Mets always wanted to trade Luis Angel Acuna for Luis Robert, and they wanted to do it since the trade deadline last season. They might want to do it earlier even. And David Stern's like, this is the trade I'm making. I'm taking all of his money. Just here you go. Get ready, and this is going to be the deal. And we'll always have the 2024 run from Luis Angel Acuna.
Save the team.
Save the team. 74-mile-an-hour bat speed. Had 3 home runs in 40 plate appearances.
Does Luis Angel Acuna hit 3 home runs next year?
Yeah, he'll hit 3 home runs next year. He'll run
take the under.
I just Luis Angel Acuna is he's the kind of player that is not going to be a starter at this juncture on a playoff team. He just isn't.
The way you know that Luis Angel Acuna is toast is because guys like Buster Olney and Jim Bowden are like, man, this is a good move right here. This is a top prospect. Luis Angel Acuna hasn't been a top prospect in like 3 years. And we saw him play a season. He's got nothing right now.
And for all the people who are going to trash the Mets for Luis Robert, it's just you got a great center field defender who can run really fast still has a good arm, and has one of the fastest bat speeds in the league.
And he's going to hit 8th.
He can hit 7th or 8th, and you know what else? The vibes might just come back to Luis Robert. He might go 30-30. And you know what? If he doesn't, and his OPS is like 710, but he's still an elite center field defender, the Mets still won this trade running away, and they'd be happy to pick this option up for $20 million again next year. It's just
A+ from the Mets. A+.
I don't know if he's going to stay healthy, but the process by the Mets is A+, and the White Sox for not knowing who Acuna is an F.
Yeah, it's literally one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
No, it's kind of embarrassing. And the Mets made another trade right after this. This was Mets Day. This was Mets week.
This is Puerto Rico Mark.
This is Puerto Rico Mark. But January 21st, Mets get Freddy Peralta and Tobias Myers in exchange for Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat. And what I think was one of the cooler, most interesting trades that happened the whole offseason.
Yeah, just to not talk about the Mets again for a second, let's go to the Brewers side first. Jet Williams, top 50 prospect in baseball, shortstop. They have him listed at center field on Spotrac, which is kind of crazy. I think shortstop or second base is going to be his defensive home eventually.
Or
third, yeah. That's what you got. It's a good defensive, versatile player who has pop in his bat. There is some like swing and miss-ish stuff with Jet, some plate discipline, but also at the same time, he does get on base and he hits the ball hard. You're hoping for just 15 home runs a year, high on base guy, playing good defense, a little bit of a spark plug in the lineup. And then Brandon Sproat, this was their Tobias Myers. They just got a different version of Tobias Myers, not the same kind of pitcher, but the idea, the archetype.
Concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Jet is that he's going to be very versatile. He's going to be a good athlete. He has shocking power for being
he's punchy.
5'5", and he's built like a fire hydrant, but he's so patient. And this is a thing that I feel like I see this more in the minor leagues now than ever before. Jet Williams has done this through the upper minors. We've seen Emmanuel Rodriguez on the Twins do this for years. JJ Weatherholt, Aiden Miller, these guys just go in the minor leagues and I'm just not going to swing. You're not a very good pitcher. I'm not going to swing. If you make a mistake, I'm going to pounce on it. But I'm happy to have a 17% walk rate because Jet Williams' swing strike rate was under 10% last year, which tells me that's probably not going to be a problem. It's just he just sits back and he waits and he waits and he waits. When you get to the majors, you might not be able to wait. And if the pitchers don't fear you, they will fill up the zone against you with better stuff, more so than you got in the minor leagues. But the opposite about what I said, Luis Angel Acuna, I think Jet Williams could easily be a starting player in a playoff team.
Yes, definitely.
Between, again, second, short, third, center, wherever he finds his home. This man was built to be a Milwaukee Brewer.
And I think that he's so small.
He can just be Caleb Durbin again this year. We'll get to Caleb Durbin trade in a little bit. It's one of the last trades of the offseason. But he's just it's all the same thing. They're so good with this player archetype. They're going to do it again and again and again. I believe in Jet Williams.
Yeah, and Sproat, awesome.
And
Sproat's great.
Good.
Throws 100.
Throws 100, good breaking balls. He's got good pitch abilities. He's got a lot of innings on his belt too. He can go to the major leagues. He's ready for that workload. But Freddy Peralta is awesome. Yeah,
Freddy Peralta is a top 30 starter in baseball. He is a frontline guy. The Mets desperately needed that. The money, they paid all the entire contract. Who cares? It's $8 million. Nobody cares about that money at all. He's really, really good. Freddy Peralta is a great start, and the Mets needed it because while the Mets had a ton of depth, and now adding Tobias Myers added even more, or I guess replaced Brandon Sproat, they lack that frontline guy, even though we think Noel McLean will be an ace in the league at some point. You don't want that pressure on him. You don't want that title on him right now. Freddy Peralta can be that guy.
Totally. And again, Tobias Myers or Brandon Sproat, that swap, it seems like this was a point of contention in this trade. Again, similar to a lot of these other deals. It seemed like the Mets just wanted Freddy Peralta. Probably first day of the offseason, David Stern's hey, what about Freddy Peralta? I know you guys probably wanted to dump him. It's your last year. And he helped nurture him into a big leaguer. But you wanted something else because it seemed like the Brewers definitely wanted Jet and Sproat. They wanted two good pieces. So the Mets probably wanted one of the bullpen demons, but they probably were very happy to get Myers. Jared Seidler had this great point, baseball prospectus, that the Mets like pitchers like Tobias Myers, who are high slot, high ride fastball guys, and the Brewers really like these guys like Brandon Sproat, who have kind of weird fastballs that don't get swing and misses that they can kind of help them on the edges with multiple breaking balls they can command. Like, it was just a great swap there. And Tobias Myers, 5 years of control, like,
Hey, that's crazy.
Like, if he becomes a mid-rotation guy, no one's going to be surprised. If he becomes an elite back-end bullpen guy, no one will be surprised. Like, he's a very, very, very good pitcher to have this organization. It really helped balance this trade with Freddy Peralta only having 1 year of team control.
And I think it's an A+ from both sides.
I think so, too. Great. One of the most square-ass deals in the offseason, full of them.
Next day, Texas Rangers got Mackenzie Gore. Nationals got Gavin Feen, Abimelec Ortiz, Devin Fitzgerald, Alejandro Rosario, and Yeremy Cabrera. Weird trade. Mackenzie Gore went, again, quantity over quality. I do like Gavin Feen more than I think most. He's not a top 100 prospect. I don't think he would have been on my list, but he put up some crazy exit velos at the MLB Draft Combine that just make you go, you're a high schooler who could do that? I mean, sounds interesting if you're hitting a ball over 110 miles an hour at 18 years old. Abimelec Ortiz, I think, might compete for first base at some point this year for the Nationals.
Yeah.
Devin Fitzgerald, I think, is a high floor guy that they expect to be a major leaguer at some point. Alejandro Rosario was one of the more exciting pitching prospects 2 years ago, but then he blew out his elbow last year and I think just got surgery or something. There's some weird stuff with him, but ultimately, like, Nationals went for the quantity play, and it might not be the wrong play either because, like, Mackenzie Gore, you needed him to play better, otherwise his value was going to tank, so you got something for him.
And I think it's just for the Nationals being like, we're just resetting the whole thing. Again, we don't want to accidentally win 61 games. Like, we want to suck as bad as possible. If we do help solve Mackenzie Gore, maybe we get more from him in trade, but then who knows what happens to our draft stock. I've been looking more into Feen. Feen's pretty nice, and I think the fact that Paul Taboni, who's now the president of baseball operations for the Nationals, came from the Red Sox organization.
They loved him.
They were really targeting him.
Yep.
He went before them to the Rangers. The Red Sox have done really well, to put it lightly, with high school bats in the last few years, developing them. So if they liked Feen and Taboni could bring some of that developmental magic to this Nationals organization, he looks like a beast. And Mackenzie Gore, it's like it's really, maybe they know more. I still like Mackenzie Gore a lot. I just think there's a team with the Rangers who I don't know what their process is like, but I still like them getting a guy Mackenzie Gore. Like, I'm still giving them a B+ for this. I'm probably giving the Nationals a C+, but this is one where I could see the scales tipping dramatically in the next few years. I wouldn't be shocked by it.
Yeah, I do think the Nationals ultimately sold low on Gore, which is why I'll give it a C. And for the Rangers, I think you bought low on Gore, so I'll give it a B.
Yeah, that's really it. Now we got to probably scroll a little bit until we get to the next fun trade. I mean,
Kai-Wei Tang?
Kai-Wei Tang, Angel Shively to the Yankees. Like, that's a fun one.
Angel Angel Chivi, that guy's going to be sick.
Chivi? That's how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Chivi. He's going to be nasty
Chivi.
for the Yankees, just so you know.
Cooper Criswell to the Mariners is depth that desperately needed.
Edward Julian going to the Rockies. Wow, what a fall off.
The Red Sox just getting rid of Jordan Hicks and David Sandler, which is funny. But
all right, here's a real trade. Now we found one because we're not talking Jordan Hicks trade. We're not doing that.
No.
Ben Williamson to the Rays. Brendan Donovan to the Mariners. Cardinals get Jarangelo Cijntje, Ty Pete, and the number 68 and 72 overall picks in the 2026 MLB draft. We did a video on this, so we won't spend too much time going over it again, but I do think that the Mariners are the clear winners here, with the Cardinals being second. People were kind of dogging the Cardinals for not getting the big prospects that they were rumored to. That was never happening. You were never getting Cade Anderson. You were never getting Lazar Montes. You were never getting Johnny Farmello. That was not the Mariners would be idiots to do that.
Ryan Sloan. But
Cijntje is a legit prospect, especially from the right side. Ty Pete has the athletic tools and was a former first-round pick. He hasn't put it together yet, but maybe this is a change of scenery that he needs. Maybe he needs a new voice in his ear. I like what those two sides got. Ben Williamson, I couldn't care less about.
Yeah, the Rays just seem to have been like very happy to be in the UCK chair for this one. Yeah. They just love to be part of 3-team trades. Everyone made that joke online, but Donovan's awesome. Donovan's what the Mariners needed for him to be a leadoff hitter and just have a 360 on base, possibly ahead of the dudes they're going to have in the middle of their order, is great. And I mean, Cijntje is just a great pull for the Cardinals, who seem like this offseason they're like, we really just want to get some guys that we think we can work with. This to me is saying that they think they have confidence in their pitching development the whole offseason. Probably says that they think they can get more out of some guys who they might be able to buy relatively low at the moment. Also surprising, right before this trade, there was a report that Cijntje was going to give up pitching from the left side to focus right. Now we got videos of pitching from the left side in spring training.
Well, they said that he was going to do bullpens. He wasn't going to do in-game lefty.
So then, still interesting that he's going to work there. But again, let the player be comfortable and do what they want to do in that situation. But I would not be surprised if he becomes a true Major League 2. And then Brendanovich is a good player. Like, nice, again, square-ass deal. Rays, incomplete. Mariners, A. Cardinals, B.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I would have given them Rays an F again just because I'm not trying to be a Rays hater. I just don't care.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, they're right now they're just in weird acquisition mode.
They don't care about me caring either. That's why the Rays are so good. All right, let's talk about the Red Sox Brewers trade. Caleb Durbin, Andrew Monasterio, Anthony Siegler, and the number 67 overall pick going to the Red Sox in exchange for Kyle Harrison, David Hamilton, and Shane Drohan. What a weird little trade this was. I mean, this just signals to me that the Brewers are probably going to bring up Jet Williams pretty quickly, and that a lot of these guys do a lot of the same things that Jet Williams does, because Durbin, Monasterio, middle infield guys, corner guys, wherever you want to put them, third, second, short. That's kind of what Jet Williams could do. Anthony Siegler's like a backup catcher, and I think Caro being on the 40-man roster might just end up being the backup at some point, it seems like. This was like a better trade, I think. Just if we really want to talk about it, this is Caleb Durbin for Kyle Harrison, right?
I think a lot of people like Drohan as another fun left-handed pitcher. I think also David Hamilton is just like the Brewers love a guy like David Hamilton.
Short.
Who just gonna play defense and be a small guy. And Durbin, like, they probably just like, we just got Durbin, we could probably just do that again.
Yeah.
And teams like the Brewers love to manicure their 40-man rosters, make sure they're not cutting people and wasting what they consider assets. I think that's a big part of what this trade was. And also a team like the Brewers, like if they see any way that they can turn Kyle Harrison and give him a real repertoire, which in making this trade, it seems like that's something you do believe as just like, he's got like a good low slot, high ride fastball from the left side that not a lot of other people had. He struggled to build on top of that repertoire, but like it's a plus fastball from the left side. Like it's hard to find that. He might be one of the best relievers in baseball. He might be a mid-rotation starter. Caleb Durbin kind of is what he was. And he's going to be a good solid ball player with not a lot of star potential. And I think that's just, you're okay to get rid of that if you think you have more of those coming.
And they got another pick, the Red Sox, after they would be losing one for signing Ranger Suarez. So, like, good for them. Good acquisition back.
Just a really weird trade to happen at this point in the offseason. You don't really see these kind of 6-player swaps on February 9th often.
Can I say C for both? Because, again, I don't care about either of these trades.
I was going to say B for both because I trust them both a little bit more.
Brett Wisely, by the way, this is the second time Brett Wisely was in a trade this offseason involving the Rays and the Braves. The Braves traded him to the Rays traded him back. Cash considerations both times.
We got Mitch Spence for AJ Causey, your boy Mitch Spence.
Mitch Spence, Swords King. Baseball Savant has a stat for swords. Mitch Spence is shockingly towards the top of that list. I don't know why. Watch the guy pitch, thoroughly unimpressed, but apparently gets a lot of swords. So keep an eye out for Mitch Spence.
Must hide the ball really well. Has to be the whole
I think
thing
he's
there.
a lanky guy.
He is. He's interesting. He's got he's not all the way over the top. He's not all the way 3/4, but he's got a very east-west arsenal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a strange guy.
Like he throws nothing with any kind of vertical.
That's
lift
what
whatsoever.
I'm saying.
This is so weird. He looks weird on the mound.
He's bizarre. I don't know what to make of it, but I trust the Royals.
Kind of.
Last trade, big one. Another returning player. The Astros, who traded Ryan Gusto or Gusto, how do you say it?
Gusto.
Ryan Gusto to the Marlins for Jesus Sanchez. Jesus Sanchez has now been traded to the Blue Jays, and the Astros got back Joey Loperfido. So they essentially traded Ryan Gusto for
Jesus Sanchez
for Joey Loperfido.
Do you remember when Joey Loperfido was the Yusei Kikuchi trade 2 years ago?
Yes, yeah.
And that worked out great for the Astros in the short term. But Sanchez they're like, we lost Anthony Santander. Let's try and get a new Anthony Santander. And I think that's what Sanchez is.
And I think the Astros loved Joey Loperfido. I think that was a big deal when they traded him. Like, I can't believe we have to get rid of him. He's back, and I guess they figure he's better than Jacob Melton.
I mean, it's a long-term play by the Astros and a short-term play by the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays also could probably just use one more. We talk a lot about how most of the Blue Jays lineup right now is like they could be really high, they could be really low.
Yeah.
Why just add another one of those?
And he is like a good backup outfield guy. Like if you really need it.
Oh, he's going to be playing outfield opening day. But
you
it's
think
nice
so? Over Nathan Lucas?
I think so, but those two guys, talk about the antithesis of two guys as baseball players. Like that's a beautiful thing to have those two guys as your mix it up. Strong side platoon outfielders where Jesus Sanchez is going to run into one, hit it 500 feet, and Nathan Lucas is just going to take a good at bat.
You think David Popkins could get him to swing any harder than he already does?
They might have to do the opposite. They might have to keep Jesus Sanchez, David Popkins apart. But I'm joking around. Popkins seems like he's just really good working with the players individually.
Yes.
If he can help Jesus Sanchez make 5% more contact, you might finally see the Jesus Sanchez.
You might get Anthony Santander.
You might get Anthony Santander. I will never ever quit on Jesus Sanchez.
That's your boy. And those are all the trades of this offseason. Wait, we didn't grade that one.
We think we're the one. A, both sides. Why not? I feel happy
Yeah,
at the
you know
end
what?
of the video.
End with an A. That's
Feel
it,
nice.
guys. Those are every trade from every team this offseason. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you're thinking in the comment section down below. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.